remember the first time I met Lydia. I was just a uniformed cop, and she addressed the unit training, and she was there to speak about domestic violence. And that was probably 1988. Lydia was one of the people in the forefront recognizing domestic violence. She was then brought within the Special Victims Division, where she was coordinating with all the other disciplines that are on this board here today that are so instrumental in these investigations.
I work with a lady named Isabel Medina, and she happened to mention to me that she was on call, and I said, on call for what? She said, well, I'm a sexual assault advocate, and I said, what's that? And she told me what it was about. I said, Isabel, I would love to do that. And then I said, I don't know if you know this, because it's not something I talk to people about, but I'm a survivor of sexual assault. I would love to be able to help if I could. So she referred me, and I went in for an interview, and I was given the opportunity to do it, and I've been doing it ever since.
In 1996-97, Congress had just passed the Violence Against Women Act, and DCJS made funds available to 3 hospitals in the city to start the first SAFE program. St. Luke's Roosevelt was one of those hospitals. And from there, it just sort of blossomed. And when I look back here 17 years later, you look at these right turns and left turns that your career has made, and I can't imagine doing anything else.
I'm a clinical social worker. So basically, there is no general kind of day. I have a general caseload, and that could include domestic violence, childhood sexual abuse, sexual assault, and general crime victims. So I'll see those clients. Sometimes if there's an emergency room case, we'll go over and respond to the emergency room.
My job is really to provide guidance and support for the assistant district attorneys in the Bureau. Part of my responsibility is to work as a team on a daily basis to make sure that as a team we're addressing all of the survivors' needs.
One of the things you can do is work as a team. This way it helps the survivor get through the exam with a lot less stress, because having to do that exam also re-victimizes the survivor, because while they have given permission to you for you to do it, they are still having someone, a stranger, invade private areas of their body.
Project Envision is a community-based coalition that seeks to engage community members and agencies in a dialogue around addressing the root causes of sexual violence.
And once we have those dialogues, we're hoping for this ripple effect, that people will continue that dialogue with their friends and their other business partners, so that way we can slowly make change in these social norms that seem really big and overwhelming.
The way that Project Envision looks at sexual violence is that we do see sexual violence as being a part of a continuum of oppression. We also have to address racism and sexism and classism.
In my opinion, it takes a community to end sexual violence. It's not something that one person can do alone. It's important to work with young people. It's important to work with elders to really stop this situation from happening ever again and to halt the process of it.
When the Special Victims Division came about by Commissioner Kelly, Sue Morley was probably one of his most easiest decisions he ever had to make. And one of the things that I'll never forget that she taught me over the years was it was our job as special victims detectives to take a weak case and make it a strong case.
When I was a young assistant in 2003, a survivor wrote me a letter. It was one of my first sexual assault survivors that I had been working with. I've carried it in my purse for the last 11 years, and I always have it with me to remind me of why we do this every day. Dear Miss Hernandez, my angel, this case has been more than hard for me, and I can see that you have tried to make it as painless as you could for me, and for that I thank you. And though all my pain is not gone, the worry of the case is no longer something I am worried about. I love you for what you have done and are doing, and I will always be grateful. Nancy.
A really great turning point for the coalition was actually when Mora Fernandez joined about a year ago. When Mora came on, her energy and her enthusiasm really inspired and woke up the coalition into engaging even more so with our community and the work that we're doing. And she really brought a different life and viewpoint to particularly the I Have the Right campaign.
We're breaking the silence. And that's what I want to focus on. There's a lot of pain, there's a lot of anger and injustice out there. These kind of projects give me hope and empower me to keep on going for myself, for the survivor, for the ones that are not here anymore.
When you have a safe patient, you go into the room, you close the door, and it's all about the patient. You sit there at eye level with them, you give them all the time in the world to answer the question, you handle the silences, you handle the tears, and you just let them do what they need to do. I love that part of it because it really gets back to the essence of what patient care is about.
I work on an individual basis as well. I work with sexual assault survivors, and to do primary prevention of sexual violence helps me to feel like I'm having a bigger impact, that I am hopefully helping to end some of the violence that is perpetrated out there.
You know how when you grew up you always had a superhero, right? My superhero was always Batgirl. And I have to tell you that when I get that call at 3 o'clock in the morning, I really feel like Batgirl going to help somebody.
So I retired from the police department in July of 2012, and about 8 months later, I received a telephone call from my old colleagues at the Queens District Attorney's Office, and they offered me a job there. And I presently work for the Queens District Attorney's Office as a detective investigator assigned to the Special Victims Bureau. I compare it to Law and Order all the time. So I used to work for the first half hour, and now I work for the second half hour.
Having a creative outlet has been really important to me, whether that be through fashion or whether that be through sharing time and spending time with people who are involved in the creative world, and communing with people like that has been really helpful for me. And then also just doing things like getting into nature and hiking and spending time with my cats. Those are good things.
I think because I have kids, it's helpful because I really see in them hope. And so I like going to my son's baseball games, and I like seeing my daughter's an artist, so I like seeing when she has her art up at different places. So I really, I think, take pride and solace in my children and my family and my husband. And I also think just taking quiet time, like I'll buy flowers for myself just to think about, nature and just to be quiet. And sometimes I can't sit there and watch CNN, 24/7 like I used to. I think I just have to kind of go inward and really focus on, what's important and to be quiet for a little bit.
I have a standing date on Friday nights with my 3-year-old goddaughter. She just reminds me of something that's so simple and so innocent and just so carefree. And after having a week of just dealing with things that are so heart-wrenching, it's so nice to just see her every Friday and just see her smile and her energy and her enthusiasm. I do think that it's so important to take care of yourself and have something in your life that can kind of motivate you to continue on and help all of these survivors, because that's what we're here to do.